Welcome back to Andertons TV. Now, I'm very aware that this channel needs to be a diverse channel where presenters can cover a wide range of styles. You've got me and Pete for your dad blues, you've got Ben and John for your sort of more modern stuff. You've got Lee and Cece doing bass stuff. But I'm kind of aware that what we don't have is kind of like an 80s style rock god. I did for a while. Maybe this would work, but I think I just look ridiculous. So today we are unveiling for you on Andertons TV our newest recruit, hoping that he or she will fill that void of 80s rock gods. So drum roll please, and welcome. Here he is.
Here I am filling the void.
Filling the void.
You alright?
Welcome to Andertons. It's Dagan.
It's a pleasure to be here. It's very surreal after being a fan for many, many moons. Like, I got into the whole guitar YouTube thing way back when because of your videos and whatnot. The stuff back in the day was just incredible. So to be here right now, it's fun. It's good.
We're just throwing you in at the deep end. Dagan, by the way, you've probably seen Dagan on YouTube. He was the main man for one of the other music stores in England for 10 years or so.
10 years, yes.
10 years ago. And then, sadly, that store is no more. That chain of stores is no more. And I spoke to Dagan back in the summer. We chatted about what you might want to do.
Of course, yeah.
And I thought it was a brilliant idea that you tried to get your own channel going. So that's a big part of what I'm hoping that some of our audience at Andertons will do, is go and find Dagan's
Have a link in the description box down below.
Indeed.
Dagan Wilkin. Can I just say as well, Lee, when everything happened with the old job and all that stuff, it was all very sudden. And you were one of the first people to reach out, besides the fact you want to come and shoot some silly videos down here in Guildford, just to ask, are you okay? How are your friends doing and stuff? And that was a bit of an awful situation. All the best for the future. So I can't thank you enough for that.
Oh, look, man.
Immediately reaching out straight away.
I always felt, I feel like it was weird, because I don't know that... I always felt there was a bit of an Anchorman moment at NAMM shows where you'd see like the PMT news team and the Andertons news team and maybe, I don't know, a couple of other retailers' news teams.
Well, you guys put me in an intro. I think it was 2016. Yes. And with a big arrow pointing to a certain celebrity with long frizzy hair and a beard, who I think may have been married to Katy Perry at the time. And yeah, that was me. And it was you and Pete either side going, way! And that was in the intro of your video. And even back then I was like, I've made it. I made the intro of an Andertons video.
Oh, that's brilliant. But I know this, before I even realised that anything was, likely to go wrong at PMT, I remember that we made a bit more of an effort at this year's NAMM show to just come and say hello and everything like that. So look, I'm super pleased the way it's worked out. And so yeah, I'm hoping that some of you guys will go and follow Dagan's channel. And over the next year or so, I know we're going to be sort of sponsoring the channel and doing some sending stuff up and getting Dagan to do things like that, as well as all the other stuff that he's going to do on his channel. And then every few months, I'm sure we'll get Dagan down here and we'll spend a day and we'll shoot some videos. So you'll see a bit here. But no, I'm pleased, and you're a lovely, lovely guy.
I'm very excited.
Great player, and I think you'll be an asset to the team here. So we are the very first deep end video, and you've seen a few presenters do this. This is our sort of gear challenge where we, Dagan, you're driving to a gig. Long old drive. The gig was just south of Guildford, so you've done this huge 7-hour schlep down from Newcastle. You're about 10 minutes away from the gig, and right outside Andertons, one of the Andertons delivery vehicles drives up the back of your car and smashes all of your gear. So you rush in, and I go, I'm so sorry, Dagan, but here's £1,000 to replace the gear that you need to get for the gig tonight. So I'm interested to see what you've decided to spend your £1,000 on.
Yes.
And we'll get to that. But as this is your first video at Andertons, tell me a bit about your guitar playing life. Like, how old were you when you first got into it, and who were your inspirations and all that stuff?
I don't actually know what age I got massively into it. I think I got my first guitar when I was 13, 14. But it wasn't a big part of my life because I used to race motocross. Dirt bikes and stuff.
You're a big chap to race motocross, aren't you?
Yeah.
Were you always
I've always been
last? Is that
massive.
all the little kids are literally going off at 500 miles an hour.
But that was my passion, and it still is a massive passion today, and I would still do it if the first thing you don't put down is your hands, and that's my entire job gone.
Yeah.
So that was my be-all and end-all. I had a guitar in the house. When I was 16, I smashed my left knee to bits.
Ouch.
So this is all metal and...
In a motocross accident?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, the smallest little accident ever. When you're a kid, you just bounce, but this was a tiny accident, and yeah. So what did I do when I was sat recovering from this? That guitar in the corner, that's a bit of fun. Yeah, let's pick that up and start playing along with some of my dad's tunes. My dad showed me AC/DC, Angus Young, the Donington video from like 91 and stuff. I immediately thought, this is what I want to do with my... I don't know how I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to find a way somehow to do this. And I started getting massively into the Sex Pistols and Motorhead before any of the crazy 80s stuff came along. It was all for the... Do you know when you just want to stand and look in the mirror and look cool? That's it. It wasn't the music part, and you probably tell by the way I look and the way the way I dress. It's just the whole thing. I was just so enamored by when I was a kid. So the guitar, in essence, was one thing, but it was the whole look. And it just so happens that playing guitar is the funnest thing in the world. So yeah, Angus back in the day, and I was like, right.
And did you go to like a guitar college or anything like that, or just you self-taught?
All self-taught.
Right.
I've never had a lesson, as you can probably tell from my minor pentatonic scales. But I'm a big fan of just playing with conviction, because I love not only the noise guitars make, but the wood and metal and the romance of it all and stuff. So I think it all kind of comes together, and I care more about that than I do the noodly modes and harmonic minors and stuff. Yeah, I did go to music college. Did that for a little bit. First year was excellent. Second year, I was 18, so I discovered going out with my friends. So that was fun, yeah. But again, that was the whole experience of being around other musicians and that whole community and just the whole everything around the instrument itself. I just love. So I've kept doing it,
and was there a little window like after that music college bit where you thought maybe a band might be a career option, or?
Yeah, I was in quite a successful band based up in Glasgow. They were called States of Panic.
State of Panic.
States of Panic. We were called Peep Show originally.
Right. Okay.
But then the TV show was massive at the time, and we got sponsored by Marshall.
Oh,
so
cool.
Marshall were like, you can't be called the same name as the TV show. Yeah, those guys were great.
And if you had to name perhaps the three, or say three guitar players that maybe across the sort of the time that you've been playing have been the most inspirational to you, the sort of the ones you always go back to, the consistent.
I mean, you probably know as well, they change all the time. Mm-hmm. But probably the top three would be Angus Young, Steve Jones from the Sex Pistols, and Eddie Van Halen. Mick Mars is a very close fourth.
Right,
Mick Mars and Eddie switch a lot, but yeah, Eddie was a huge thing for me because I didn't realise... I thought it was the guitar, again, because I was so enamored by it. When I saw Eddie with his Kramers and stuff, I wanted one more than anything because I thought if I had that guitar, I could do it. I didn't realise it was hours of practice. I just thought it was the guitar. And
how do you put Steve Jones and Eddie Van Halen in the same category of inspirational guitar players when they were so different? Is one attitude more, or what?
It's all attitude. Obviously, the skill Eddie had and what he played is my bread and butter, and I love it to bits. But the way you hold yourself on stage while wielding a guitar, and it's the most important thing in the moment at that time. You can watch Eddie, you can watch Angus, you can watch Steve. It's just that whole dynamic. I just love it. I love that kind of passion.
Well, that's cool. And you still got a band now, right? I see you on your social stuff doing band
bits
stuff.
and bobs, yeah. A little band called Thanks for the Memories, the UK's best unofficial emo tribute band.
Oh, it's an emo, okay.
It's an emo tribute band.
So what's the set list look like in that band?
A bit of My Chemical Romance, Fall Out Boy, all that good stuff. Yeah.
Good for you, man.
Like nostalgia.
Well, I'm sure as the day goes on, we will uncover more little nuggets from your darkest past. But for now, let's crack on with the challenge. So if you'd like to help me here.
Of course.
We can lift the curtain off here. Oh, what a cliche.
I know.
Who knew? So, okay, let's discuss. You had £1,000.
Yes.
We'll assume it's your Thanks for the Memories rock and roll kind of band that you were on your way to the gig for. So you needed a little combo, a guitar. Okay, you're the first person that's ever picked a wireless system.
I don't like being tethered.
Well, that's a great shout. So look, Dagan's picked a little X5 wireless system here. Super old school. We just got an amp with a tube screamer in the front of it, which is, I'm guessing, how a lot of your heroes would have done it.
Of course.
And I don't understand, this isn't a wah-wah.
That's the most important thing in my rig. A volume pedal. People don't realise how important volume pedals actually are. we'll talk about it when it's all set up, obviously, but it's a big part of my rig debt.
Alex, I mean, literally, if someone gave me a picture of you and said, draw a guitar on him, that is what I would draw on you, a black SG.
They're just the coolest things in the world. It's got devil horns. Why wouldn't you think that's the coolest thing in the world?
What is your SG collection? What do you have yourself?
I think I'm down to 3.
3, fair enough. That's borderline obsessive.
Yeah,
so
I had 6 at one point.
Did you?
I did, yeah. Then I realised I can only play one at a time.
6 SGs?
6 SGs. Yeah, well, there's all so many different flavours of SG. There's the 61s, there's the standards, there's the juniors, there's the customs. And the custom's my favourite by far.
Right.
So
hence the reason you've gone with that.
I know it's a bit more expensive, but again, like I was saying before, in my head it's important to look down and see something cool that you want to play. So the custom thing's a big part of that for me with the blocks and the diamonds and stuff. So that's why I went for.
Alrighty.
It's so weird playing guitar sitting down.
I'm not used to sitting down didn't you? At all, and yet I'll go the other way. Like I'm similarly uncomfortable standing up and playing guitar. But unfortunately, if you were to stand up now, your head would be touching the ceiling.
Yes,
virtually.
Yeah, so, that is great.
So talk me through what you've done.
So the SG is one thing, of course. Huge fan of the SG, and like I say, the custom is such a big part of why I like to be on stage and stuff. It's just so elegant and beautiful. And it's not too dissimilar to the Gibson. Like the neck profile, the stem taper and stuff. Lovely thing, and they just ring like a bell. And
when I play an SG, it's one of the few guitar designs where I really feel the position of the neck relative to the body is very different. So
massively so,
if I switch between a Strat, a Tele, even a Les Paul, Paul Reed Smith, I kind of feel like the relative neck to strumming hand position is the same. SG always feels like the neck is that way a bit further. Does that ever, do you just get used to that, or do you find actually switching from an SG back to another guitar to be a different sort of thing?
I think I prefer this more. Like, you're a tall guy as well. I'm a bigger guy. This guitar, it just kind of feels a bit more, everything's where it should be.
Right.
If you know what I mean, because sometimes guitars can feel very toyish.
Yeah.
And I find that a lot of the time with Strats and stuff, but with this, it's very deliberate. Everything feels where it should be, and
if you're standing up, are you like down here, or are you?
What do you think?
I think down here. Right? Yeah, I thought so.
Of course, man. Yeah, rock and roll. The two things I always say to everyone, like when they start playing guitar, practice standing up, because it's a totally different ball game, isn't it? When you're young and you want to get on stage and start a band and stuff, practice standing up, because you don't want to get on stage for the first time and go, oh God. I want to have my guitar down low because it looks cool, but I have to play it high because...
Yeah, but that's I'm like 80s, level 42 kind of guitar player up here. All right, well, look, it sounds great, and I do think, and people will rage on about this on the internet forever about, wood doesn't make a difference and all that kind of stuff. I do fundamentally think the SG has a different sound to a Les Paul. Yeah. And you can put the same pickups in a Les Paul and the same pickups in an SG, and the SG still comes out a slightly more barky.
It's more snap to it.
Yeah.
In the mid-range,
but it's and of course, Angus Young. I mean, Angus Young is probably. You know what? I reckon if you did a poll of 1,000 guitar players to name your top 10 guitar players, I bet you he'd be in almost every. More like some people Van Halen would be in it, other people Van Halen wouldn't be in it.
Of course.
Some people Clapton wouldn't, Mayer, whatever, Steve Vai, But I bet you Angus Young would be a relative constant. That'd be a good test to do, wouldn't it? It
would be good, and even if he's not the player's choice, that player, his favourite guitar player, would probably be Angus Young, or would be in his top 3 guitar players. Yeah. So there's a little trickle-down effect that Angus is always there at all times.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. So cool guitar.
Yes.
Would you again? Let's do signal flow. So you've obviously decided to go with the wireless.
One of the most important things in the world to me. I hate being tethered.
Right.
On stage, I don't like being tethered. Being in studio rooms like this.
In life.
Even though I have just got married to my lovely wife.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, like being in like studios, recording in studios, and these video suites and stuff. There's cables everywhere.
Yeah.
So if I can take one of the cables away, the one that's the most important one, yeah, I always need a wireless. Obviously, cables are fine.
Are you charging around the stage in your band like nut job?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Fine.
like-
So look,
like-
and wireless stuff now. We've moved. I think almost everything wireless now will have moved away from the old sort of, VHF and UHF sort of stuff and picking up the taxi firm halfway through the gig. I think everything now is on a digital bandwidth. And I can't believe how inexpensive these are now.
It's ridiculous, yeah.
I think we sell guitar cables that are more expensive than wireless systems.
I know, it's ridiculous. The Behringer ones are great, the X5 one's fantastic, and they're all rechargeable now as well, so you haven't got to worry about having hundreds of batteries in your bag and messing around with stuff like that, and there's no big cables going up to your straps. The bug idea is just so cool.
Now, of course, what you're doing with the wireless thing here is an interesting one because obviously you're using pedals.
Yes.
So people might in their brain be going, okay, well, normally I would plug the transmitter into the guitar and the receiver into the amplifier. But of course, if you're using pedals, the receiver has got to go into the first pedal.
Yeah.
So if we look down here and you're going, what's that? That's what's happening. So the signal is going from here to here wirelessly, and then you're into a volume pedal.
The most important pedal in the world, Lee. I do enjoy a clean sound, like everyone does every now and then. But my preferred a clean channel, sorry, I should say. But my preferred clean sound is a rolled off. That's my vibe. There's sizzle on it, which I love, and obviously you can get that sizzle by rolling the volume down on your guitar. But when you've got free feet, I was going to say, what's the best way to say that? Manipulate it in real time, which is great. So whether you do clean parts on the verse going into the chorus, you can bring it in like that, like play with the textures and play with the dynamics way more than you can by having to manipulate the volume control.
Yeah, I'm sure I might be wrong here, but obviously for me, two of the greatest guitar players ever to do that swell effect would have been Jeff Beck, who definitely did do it from the volume on the guitar, but Mark Knopfler is the other one, and I'm sure Mark Knopfler used the volume pedal to do it. I think so. I mean,
it is inherently a lot easier on a Strat because the volume control is just so much easier to grab. And I've been doing this for years as well. It's not like a new thing.
I'm gonna also concur with you on that overdriven amp sound with the volume down for a clean sound, and I still to this day think the best product video that I ever saw being filmed was when Rabir did the early Victory Kraken videos. And he does this super haunting intro of what is fundamentally a really high gain amplifier, but with a very small trickle of guitar signal going to it. Tons of reverb and delay and everything. And it's this amazing, and sizzle is exactly the right word. That's how it's different from a conventional really clean channel. There's a harmonic on there that gives a bit of excitement, and then of course as you begin to wind the volume in, and everyone realizes what's about to happen, and it's just it is a very cool.
It's a feel thing as well. Like there's a bit of snap under your finger, like it's something more to grab onto when you hear those little harmonics creeping in. It's just, it's nice.
So on the whole, I mean, you've got an amplifier with a clean channel here, but are you saying you probably wouldn't even bother to go there? You just have the driven channel.
Never in a million years.
Which I guess lends itself to having old JCM 800.
Of course, which is my bread and butter, hence the
okay, so we've got the shoes. We've gone from the volume pedal into a Tube Screamer Mini. Have you just gone the classic low gain, high volume?
You can't go wrong with it. It's the sound that we all want at some point in our guitar playing lives. And some people that goes away, some people it doesn't go away. For me, it's just stayed a constant. You can't go wrong with a Tube Screamer into an already overdriven amp. This is running quite hot. It adds that a little bit extra. The gain's a bit down, the volume's up, so I'm boosting the front end of the amp a bit. For solos, for riffs.
I would have loved to have been sort of part of that original Tube Screamer design team to sort of go, how much of that EQ curve and the slight bass roll off and the way they did the gain was intentional,
Yeah,
and how much of it just became like a happy accident. Because as you rightly say, a high gain amplifier, especially when everyone was using heads into 412s, the fact that it just tightens it up and takes that little bit of bass end away works so well over a gainy sound. And I mean, there must be a million Tube Screamer clone pedals that you can buy now. But yeah, why not buy the original little Ibanez Mini? It's affordable. It's
a constant these days that everyone goes, well, the guitar sits in the mid-range of your hearing. Mid-range is a big part of it. This is a very mid-rangey pedal. That conversation probably wasn't a thing to make this pedal about, like I said, with the EQ curve and stuff. That probably wasn't a big part of it. They're probably just like, this sounds cool. With a bit of mid-range in, let's just whack it. And
I mean, and it's nice and simple board, isn't it, that one? So you're typically speaking then, you're not using delays and all that other,
It's fun to have, but it's not something that's an important part of my rig.
Fine.
It's all good to play like a solo, have a delay, firing it at the crowd and stuff, but it's not a very big part of my sound.
Now, I have to, I approve of your amp choice here. I think this is a market that's been dominated by the Boss Katana over the last 10 years, but this year it feels like one or two brands have kind of started to chip away at that sort of Katana dominance. So this is the Laney Foundry. You might have seen this in videos we've done before in blue. It's also in this rather fetching green, same amplifier. But again, what is it that you like about the Foundry then over some of the other amp choices you could have made?
Well, for this kind of video as well, I'm partial to a modeler. I do love a good modeler. I play a Helix quite a bit. So one of the obvious choices would be to get a modeler for less than £1,000. It does everything. There's a volume pedal built into it, the Tube Screamer built into it. Excellent. But that's not the way that I work. In a way, I was like, if I can have an amp and turn it up, for a number of different reasons. The main one for me is I've found using a modeler, I play with a very loud drummer. I'm always asking for the monitor to be louder. Please turn it up. It's feeding back, it's ridiculous. When you've got an amp behind you, you get a nice little mixture between them. And the Foundry there's some bells and whistles, but it's the bells and whistles you'd use. Like, I love the Katanas as well, but they do everything wonderful. I don't need everything.
Right.
Volume pedal, distortion pedal, an amp, which a bit of reverb's nice. But that classic British tone with the Tube Screamer, again, it's just... just there, straight away.
I do think Laney have nailed, I mean, it's a solid state amplifier. This kind of, rig for under £1,000, your options for a valve amplifier are hyper limited. But I'm inclined to agree with you. For people interested, you've gone gain maximum.
Yes.
Is that a throwback to some sort of, I don't know, have you always been that guy that just put the gain on maximum, or does it depend on the amp?
It depends how the amp reacts. Like, the Foundry stuff's great because, like I say, it is solid state, but it reacts like a valve amp. Hence why it works great with the volume. And all that that was an awful chord, sorry.
I liked it, it was a jazz.
One of them. But it reacts so well. So when the gain's at max, there's so much more to manipulate. And there's more to utilize the volume pedal with, utilize how hard you hit the guitar, like your pick attack and stuff.
But that's it. We've just the EQ is pretty flat. We've got a tiny bit of extra treble. Tone is flat, a little bit of reverb, and as you said, there's a couple of bells and whistles on here that we haven't gone into, but you've got a bit of chorus if you want it, a bit of tremolo. It'd be interesting. There is a boost built into here, which I guess potentially could do what the Tube Screamer's doing, but maybe without the EQ.
It was more of a core sound, and I didn't need a boost for solos and whatnot, but it's a different kind of flavour, isn't it? That's boosting the entire front end. With this, you can manipulate the tone and whatnot.
Well, look, I mean, that I think is a great rig. It would definitely be the kind of rig I'd probably be inclined to go for if I was doing the same thing. We do need to discuss the fact that, strictly speaking, I said you could have £1,000, and I actually think that we've spent about £1,200. So before you go...
That's just me being daft wanting the custom.
Yeah, I mean, if you could clean my car, hoover up here, do the dishes, that would be great. I think we'll just call the other 200 quid quits. But there you are, ladies and gents. There will be links in the description below to all the products you've seen in this video, and of course over to Dagan's own YouTube channel, which you should go and subscribe to. I think that's it, isn't it, sir?
I believe so, yeah.
Excellent. Well, play us out with your favourite, I don't know, little 20-second, could be one of your own songs or a bit of AC/DC.
How about some minor pentatonic?
Yes.
always wanted to throw a pick in the studio.